Hi there, it's Nina Nandagopal at almostpractical.com, and today I want to talk a little bit about how to find the fabric selvage. Selvage is an important concept in sewing, and you need to really know how to identify that, especially when you're making patterns, because a lot of patterns will require that your fabric is cut a certain way. So this is a good thing to know. So what you'll find, this piece of fabric is right off the bolt, and when you get a piece of fabric off the bolt, you will see that the edge of the fabric is slightly thicker and is sort of a bound edge, and sometimes even a different color than the rest of the fabric. Sometimes, like on this particular piece, you see it here on this side of it, but on the opposite edge, you'll see that it is actually the same color as the fabric, but you'll still see that it's a little bit thicker, and you'll see these little holes going down the side, which is from the manufacturing process. So when a piece of fabric is cut from the bolt, it has two selvage edges on opposite sides, and it also has two sort of cut edges where they cut the amount that you need. So the selvage edges, another way to identify the selvage edges is that there is no give to them. They're usually pretty tight compared to the other direction. See that? So there's definitely more stretch here and less stretch here. And I think that's true of most fabrics. Some fabrics are stretchier than others, but you'll see that in this woven one in particular, this is very tight and this is very stretchy. So the selvage is tight. The selvage is also referred to as the straight grain or the warp. The edge along the other side, that's cut edge, is referred to as the cross grain or the weft. And finally, the bias is when you take the fabric on the diagonal and you see it's even more stretchy. So the bias is the diagonal of the fabric. So that's the bias. Now it's pretty easy to identify the selvage, especially if the fabric just came off the bolt, like this piece. But what happens if you have a little scrap piece that you're working with and you need to know where the selvage is? Well, it's the same sort of concept where you need to do the stretch test, I guess, if you call it. So I'm feeling this, and this is pretty tight. And I'm going to turn it, and wow, well, this is a little more stretchy. So, okay, I've identified my selvage right here. This is my selvage edge. It's definitely tighter than this edge, which would be the cross grain. And then finally, the bias is the diagonal. So you can see how stretchy that is. So that's how you would identify it on a small piece of fabric. So I hope you found this video to be helpful. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and give the video a like. I would greatly appreciate it. And come visit me on my website, almostpractical.com, where I do a lot of DIY information and organizing, productivity, a little bit of a mixed bag. Thank you again for joining me today.